right, well, thanks for having me, Gabriella. I'm Annie Hudspeth with the San Antonio District Office with the Small Business Administration. And I asked if we could come and talk about some of the important things that are going on with the SBA right now with the COVID EIDL relief program that we had for the last couple of years has ended. But now after the 18-month deferment, the payments are starting to become due, and that's kind of why we've created this not the video, but the PowerPoint so that we could share how to get set up in CAFS, which is our capital access financial system. You can find out everything you need to know about your loan, how much you owe, what the interest is, when the next payment due date is, and when you're making payments, then you can see how it's being applied to the loan. You could go ahead. So we'll just talk about a little bit today is just going to go over the overview of the COVID EIDL program. Then we're going to talk about the loan details and what everything is on the when you open up into the COVID CAFS program, and then how to make payments, how to identify your loan servicing center, and then help with planning your payment. And we're going to have a little bit of FAQs and question and answers. And then the other thing that I did was I added extra slides in there. So just in case there were attendees that didn't have a COVID EIDL loan, that we could talk about some of our other different loan programs that we do currently have available and that are permanent programs. These were just temporary. So believe it or not, we made over $390 billion in direct working capital loans and 3.9 million small businesses and nonprofits nationwide under that COVID EIDL loan. And businesses benefited from the increased maximum funding amount, the extended deferment period of the 18 months that we talked about, and then broaden use of funds to include paying down debt. So if you had current debt that you weren't able to make payments for, you were able to use these funds to make payments on those other loans that you had monthly. And then we process 1,050,000 applications per day. That has never, ever, ever been done before with the SBA. So we average tens of thousands of loans per year, but never, 1 billion applications. That's just crazy, unheard of. So the average loan size was under $100,000, and 90% of those went to small businesses of 10 employees or fewer. So we really did target those small businesses for this program. Now the loan payment, it was a loan. It wasn't a grant. A lot of individuals kind of got it confused with the PPP. If you're familiar with that, that was the payment protection program that was set up for small businesses as well, but that was through lenders, and if you used 60% of it to pay payroll and 40% on eligible expenses, then it was forgivable. But this program is not a forgivable loan, and so it is something that has to be repaid, and that's why we're trying to get the word out and trying to share on how to find the information and how to make those payments on it. But the interest did accrue from the time of deferment. So as soon as the note was made, that's when the interest started accruing. So that's something else that maybe small businesses didn't realize, is that even though you had a deferment of 18 months, interest was still accruing on the amount on the loan itself. And then, there's no prepayment penalties on them. So if you wanted to pay them off early, you definitely could do that. And then, avoid those loan defaults. If you're having a really hard time making those payments and you need a little bit of extra assistance, we do have our servicing centers that you can reach out to see what kind of options are available to you. But keep in mind that they are being reported to the credit bureaus, and if you defaulted on it, and we could do an offset on your tax returns, and then it might create some bigger issues down the road if you're ever looking for federal funding. So it's better to have those communications. Let us know that, I'm having a hard time. I can't start making these payments. What can we do? So those are just some things to have. So if you're not sure when your repayment due date was, you could look at the note, and this is what you'll see at the top. It'll show you the date of it. So your first payment is due 30 months from the date of the original note, regardless if you had an increase. So we had a certain dollar amount that you were eligible for, and then you're able to increase that, request an increase if you're needing additional funding. So it doesn't matter if you received the increase at a later date, it's always going to go back to the original date that you received the original loan from those 30 months from that. You should have gotten it in your original loan closing documents, but if you're needing a copy, you could also reach out to our servicing center and you can get copies of those documents there. And then we're going to talk about the CAFS, which is our Capital Access Financial System, kind of how to get registered in it and then how to utilize it and what to locate there. The other thing is our how to make payments. So the pay.gov is where you're actually going to make payments. So there's two different systems. We're going to talk about the CAF system, which is where you can go in. It's an SBA system that you're going to go into and find all the information that you need on your business loan. But the pay.gov is where you're actually going to make payments. And I guess this is SBA.gov/pay is the step-by-step instruction on how to create your CAFS account and how to get set up. You must have a Social Security number to create the account, and you can view your loan details, the payment amount. We talked about those things that you'll be able to see in there. For new employees, you'll click on the not enrolled, and then for borrowers, including sole props, the person whose credit was used and the loan application will be the person that you'll set up the SSN for. Now, there is, for nonprofits, we did have to have a person or the key person to get set up, and so there might be under that Social Security number. But if you're not sure who that person was that was set up for those nonprofits, you could definitely reach out to the servicing center as well. You could contact the disaster servicing office at the phone number here, 833-572-0502, or you can email them at disastercustomerservice@sba.gov. If you're not able to reach anyone, you could definitely reach out to our district office here in San Antonio. My name again is Annie Hedspeth. My email address is annie.hedspeth@sba.gov, and my office phone number is 210-403-5918, and I believe at the end of the slide deck there is our contact information. So this is the Capital Access Financial System. This is where you're going to go in and set up your account. And I noticed that it doesn't show the instructions on setting up your account, but if you look at the screen here up at the top, you'll see a little person, and it'll give you instruction as well. I think it also showed that on the sba.gov/pay, it also had information on the instructions on how to set up the CAFS. But this is after you're set up and after you're logged in. Then you'll go in and you'll put in your Social Security number as the borrower, the one that made the loan, and search it, and it'll bring up any loans, whether you have a first or, the first loan, or if you have a PPP or whatever loans that you have with SBA. So it's not just going to be the COVID-EIDL. So if you have several different loans out there, which you can, then you'll see them all listed. So you'll see the loan detail information. I know this might not be easy for you on the online to see, but we could share the PowerPoint as well. If you're needing a copy of it, just reach out to us and we can make sure that you get a copy of it. But it's going to have your borrower information just across the top there. It'll tell the business name, and then just some of the information regarding the borrower. Then it's going to have your next payment due date, your loan number, the loan status if it was dispersed and if it's current, when the originating date was, and then your maturity date. So if you're not sure when your original date, it's going to show it on this CAFS anyway. So remember, it's 30 months from the date of that original date. And then it gives your maturity date, if there's any co-obligors that was on it. And then as you scroll down, you'll see where it says balance and interest. So it's going to be on the other side. It gives the principal balance that's owed. If there was any undispersed amount, it should all be dispersed. But if it did have one, it'll be there. The daily interest that's accruing on it. Interest rate charged, which is 3.75%. And then it just kind of gives you some information in regards to the interest and the payoff date. Just more information, and you can see on the payment information, it'll show when you made the payment, how much it was, what went to principal, and what went to interest. So it'll actually show you a breakdown of the loan payment that you've made on it. Now, these are payment coupons. So if you're wanting to get a payment coupon, you could go in there and click on there and say, yes, I want the payment coupon. Otherwise, I don't think they're going to be sending them out. As you saw, we made so many different loans, so I don't think it's going to go out to everyone. So if you're not receiving a payment coupon and you're wanting one, you could go in and request one to be sent to you.
So they go to pay.gov.
Oh, yep. Mm-hmm. Now this is for this is for the electronic display only. So if you go to pay.gov to make a payment, this is the information that you'll see here. You could either go online at the pay.gov. It also gives you the address for SBA at sba.gov. P.O. Box 3918 at Portland, Oregon, 97208-3918. There's also some questions if you have any questions. And then also our servicing centers, we have them by state. So depending on what state that you're located in, you'll see, you might not be able to see online, but again, we could share this with you. But if you're in Texas, it's going to be El Paso as our servicing center. And then if you're in some of the other states that are listed there, it's going to be in Birmingham, but most of them in our servicing area are going to be in El Paso. If you have any questions regarding your loan, remember those for Birmingham, we're outside of Texas, but if you have payment inquiry questions, if you have questions on your CAFs or your borrower portal that you have, any payoff inquiries, address changes, any changes really, like if you sell you're not supposed to sell your business without prior consent of the government. If you have a COVID EIDL, you have to have prior approval. There's a lot, you can't move to a different address without prior approval. If you go to get a loan from a bank, you have to have a subordination. And so all of that is through the servicing center. But this is just showing you which servicing center and how to contact them, and then what kind of questions that you may have of who to contact. There's also, I said those lien subordination requests that we talked about. If there's any change in the business structure, or if you're selling it, let's say that somebody passed, we've had a lot of owners that got the loan and then they passed and maybe their kids took over that business or something, that's still considered a change of ownership because the loan was made to the father and then he passed or something, or the mother passed. Then those definitely have to be shared with the servicing center as well. That, of course, you can't get prior approval, but they still need to make record and approve that next person coming on board. And then if you need any release of collateral, we didn't take collateral. I think it was $250,000 or more. That's when the collateral started. So if it was $250,000 or less, then there wouldn't be a reason for collateral release. But if you did have that, then that's something that you would also reach out. Now, again, this is for Birmingham. The next slide is just going to show you El Paso. You could go ahead and it's the same exact slide. It just has the different information. And so for for El Paso, the phone number is 800-487-6019, or the email address is El Paso, spelled out DLSC for Disaster Loan Servicing Center at SBA.gov. So if you have any payment concerns, you could go into your borrower portal and set up payments automatically. Remember, I talked about if you're not able to make payments, then we reach out to those servicing centers as soon as possible. Don't wait, but go as soon as you know that you're not going to be able to make those first payments. Go ahead and contact the servicing center so that we can start working with you on giving whatever options that are available under this program. So we do have some resource partners that can help. Here's our district office number. It's our main number. It's the 210-403-5900. You could find us at sba.gov/TX/San Antonio. But as I mentioned, if you're hearing me today and you're needing some assistance through our district office, you could reach out to me directly, and that's the 210-403-5918. That's my direct number. If you're needing assistance with helping your business, maybe with some additional funding, or if you're having some problems, or you just need somebody to talk to, or a mentor, or counselor, we also have our resource partners available through the Small Business Development Centers, the Women's Business Center, the SCORE Office, the Veterans Business Outreach Center for Veterans, and then we also have the Community Advantage resource partners as well. If you're not sure where to find it, you can again go to sba.gov and then look under the for local assistance. And these are just some of the ones that are in our footprint. Our district office handles 55 counties, and so these are the ones that we work closely with. So they're just their addresses and phone numbers as well. So a couple of FAQs that we've been receiving a lot of, that we've just kind of made an FAQ to kind of help out with those types of questions was, will EIDL loans be forgiven? You heard me at the beginning say this is an actual loan. It's not forgivable. So you will have to repay the loan somehow or some way. And then you're looking to sell the business or close the business. What should I do? Remember, that's one of the things that I mentioned, that you have to contact the servicing center on those. And then you have a traditional disaster loan and a COVID. Can you combine them? No. As I mentioned, if you have more than one loan, they're going to be listed as the loans that you have. Each of them have their own loan number, when they were made, and that sort of thing. So you're not able to combine those. And if you can't make a payment, again, just contact those servicing centers, either Birmingham or El Paso. And if you wanted copies of those loan documents, I think I mentioned that early on as well, but you're going to contact those same centers for that. Actually, as I'm telling you to go back to where the loan was originated, which was our disaster customer service office in Fort Worth. And then how do I access my CAFs? And that's kind of what we talked about, is going to the sba.gov/pay, and you'll get that instructions, step-by-step instructions on how to set up in CAFs. So that's it on COVID. And I don't know if there's any questions on the COVID, but I also wanted to include in the PowerPoint presentation our other programs, just in case that you're still needing additional funding for the business. Now, a caveat to that is that the COVID was for both nonprofit and for-profit businesses, but our regular programs are only for-profit. You have to be owned, operated for-profit, be in the U.S., and have a viable business plan. And they are, it's a government guaranteed loan program offered through participating lenders. So you'd actually go to a bank or a financial institution, request a loan, business loan. They look to see if they could do it conventionally on their own. And if they're not able to do it conventionally, that's when they would reach out to the SBA for a guarantee to minimize the risk for the applicant. But just a little bit about it. It's not a lot of slides, but again, I just wanted to make sure that I provided all the information I had available to you to help small businesses. But the benefits of the small business, as I mentioned, it's a government guarantee program, and it helps lenders be able to make a loan where they may not be able to without our guarantee. And we guarantee up to 85% of the loan if it's $150,000 or less. And then we can offer longer terms. So most banks, credit unions, or financial institutions, if it's a working capital equipment, they usually go 3 to 5 years, and we can go up to 10 years. So that's a longer period to spread those payments out and have a better cash flow. Interest rates, we don't really provide a maximum. I mean, we don't provide what we do is we provide a maximum that the lender is allowed to charge on our interest rates. It could be lower than what we have, but it can't be higher. So we do have those not to exceed SBA maximums, and it's driven by the prime rate. And then the other thing is, that's negotiated between you and the lender. We don't set those. Again, the loan's going to be between you and the bank, and the guarantees between the SBA and the bank. Right? So, if the loan goes in default, then we're going to pay the bank that 15% that they're out, right? I mean, 85%, and they'd only be out 15% of the loan, right? So when we're talking about $100,000, they're going to get $85,000 from the SBA, and they have $15,000 that they still need to, figure out how they're going to collect on. But that's what makes SBA important to lenders and to applicants, to be able to help them make that loan where they might not be able to. The applicant is still responsible for the whole $100,000, and you'll just have to work with the bank or SBA if it's a SBA-driven loan, how to make that payment, or maybe get charged off, but maybe do a compromise or for a lesser amount, or, just different options. We'll just have to figure out what's best for you. And then one of the other reasons why a lender comes to us is not just for longer terms, but because we help with those startups. Startups are just risky, right? Because there's no historical numbers to look at, where everything is projected, and nobody really knows if you're going to make that or not. So that makes them a little bit more risky, and so that's why a lender would come to the SBA to use our program is for the startup positions. Also for collateral, if you don't have a lot of collateral, and most startup businesses or small businesses don't have a lot of collateral, so those would be some of the reasons. It's not for everyone, right? If you could go into the bank and get a bank loan conventionally without the SBA, then you wouldn't even need SBA. But if you're there and they say, we're declining, you can't get the loan, and it's because, let's say, your repayment ability, we can only go through maximum of 5 years, and you're just not making it, right? We're not showing that you can cash flow this loan. Then maybe ask them, can it go SBA? And maybe they could look at it that way. Business eligibility for the borrower. So owned and operated for profit that we talked about has to meet our size standard. Basically, if it's less than 500 employees or less than sales average of 7 million in sales, then it would be eligible. That's just a quick glance. Sometimes it's over that, right? So then we go by the industry standards. So we look to see what your NAICS code is, the North American Industry Classification Standard. We look to see what that code is, and that's what we go by. Or if it's still we also have the alternative size standard as well. And we look at the types of business, as this is a government guaranteed loan program, right? So we're answering tax dollars. So we have to make sure that the type of business is open to the public. You can't discriminate. You can't be too close to heaven or too close to hell, right? So we have to be careful on the type of business that it is. And then use of proceeds is really any business need. Our main program that we have is our umbrella loan program is our 7A, and that goes up to $5 million. We have different specialized programs underneath that 7A umbrella. So if you have more than one loan, you can. We talked about how you can have more than one loan at a time, but you can't exceed that 3.75 million, which is 75% to one owner of the business. We already talked about how our guarantee goes up to 85% for loans 150,000 or less, and then 75 if it's over 150. So the great thing right now, through September 30, 2023, is there's no fees up to $500,000. So if you're looking to request a loan, this would probably be a good time to do that, because as you could see in years past, let's say a $500,000 loan would be with no fee relief was $11,250, and for 2022. It was still $10,388 that you had to come up with up front. But right now it's $0. I mean, you're saving quite a few $1,000 on the guarantee portion of the loan. And that's through September 30. It does change annually, so we don't know what next year will be. Last year, it was no fees up to $350, and then, of course, this year it's no fees up to $500,000. And this is just a slide showing you the difference of the years past. I talked about the specialized programs, but these are, the SB Express can be used as a line of credit. So if you're looking more for a line of credit instead of a term loan, then that might be a program that you might want to reach out to instead. It only has a 50% guarantee, and it only goes up to $500,000 versus the $5 million. But a lot of lenders use that because they get to use their own forms, do their own underwriting. They're called delegated, so they get a faster turnaround time. And so that's something that they could do. If you're looking to, go into exporting, or if you're doing exporting, or if you wanted to go into a different market, a new country, we have some programs for those. And then Community Advantage is one that's through non-bank lenders, such as People Fund or Lift Fund or BCL of Texas. And I believe Capital Certified Development Company also does. But those, since they're non-bank lenders, they're not regulated by FDIC or NCUA, which is NCUA is for the credit unions, then they're able to do a little bit maybe more creative financing. So those programs, it's still a 7A. You still get the great terms through the 7A, but they might be able to make the loan where a bank might not be able to because they're not regulated. And then we have our 504, which is a brick and mortar. If you're looking to buy a building or do some heavy equipment, purchase heavy equipment of 10 years with an economic life of 10 years or more, that might be a program. But it's specific. It's very specific and only limited on the use of proceeds. And then the microloan, that's for individuals that might not be able to get any of those 7As that we talked about, but you're still needing some money to get your business or purchase a piece of equipment. And those are, again, through those same non-bank lenders that I mentioned earlier. This is how you stay connected with us. You can send us, if you wanted any SBA newsletter or updates, you can reach out to the sba.gov/updates. If you want to follow us on Twitter or Instagram. We also have our cito.email@sba.gov if you wanted to send a general email box. And then, again, we talked about our district phone number. But just survey on how we're doing. And again, that our district office is working with Gabriella, and hopefully we can build those partnerships and be a resource for you as well, her locally, and hopefully grow with different programs that we have, training programs or educational programs. We also have our certification programs, which is our 8A, our certifications if you want to do business with the government. So we have those programs as well. Maybe we could do a class on that, but if you're looking to get into government contracting opportunities. But we have a lot of opportunities, and hopefully we could share those with you. But thank you for having me today.
For startup businesses, is there a deadline where the business has to start by a certain period in order to be eligible for the loan?
I'll just tell you what SBA's definition is of a startup. It's less than 2 years. So, from your cell, right? You have to have a cell. So 2 years and under is a startup business. Anything over 2 years is considered an existing business under the SBA's definition.
Now, since I understand you offer the documents, but a lot of us don't have time or intelligence, like education to read it all, do you all sit down and go over the documents with anybody?
Our resource partners can do that for sure.
Okay.
So just to answer that question, the UTSA Small Business Development Center, they come here once a month. One of the advisors was here today. So if you want to make an appointment with them, we can put you in touch with them.
And they'll go over the document. Yes. Okay. Before you sign or after?
There's no. Are you talking about these new
with loans? And I'm just talking about for anybody because I've seen this happen a lot.
Yes.
You're desperate and you sign, you need help, and then there's nobody to really explain.
Don't ever sign anything you're not sure about. For sure, have somebody review them definitely. Yeah. But remember, they're not attorneys, right? So they're not going to advise you, but they could definitely, if you're not sure what a term means, they could definitely explain that to you.
And this is where it's important to also have a good relationship with your banker,
exactly.
Right? You would hope that they were not going to steer you to something that's not right, but that's why you would have a UTSA Small Business Development Advisor that is impartial, that could tell you not only what this means, but how does this in relation to other things in the marketplace.
Yes. Now I'm just speaking from our family's past experience. I watched them go through something similar, and they received a huge loan, and they met with the banker, but the banker, I guess, wasn't knowledgeable and everything, and so only certain questions were met, and then it kind of backfired. There was just misunderstanding. Yeah. So I just always wonder, if you're in this situation, where could you go to get that information, get it broken down for you?
Yeah, our resource partners, definitely.
Okay, y'all do offer that, or if not,
that was that's
free, and that's a free service. I don't think I mentioned that, but our resource partners, the Small Business Development Center, the SCORE office, the Women's Business Center, those veteran business outreach centers, and the Community Navigate, all of those are free. SBA partially funds those to provide those services. So your tax dollars actually are funding it. So, but yes, they can help you with that kind of stuff. Yes, absolutely.
Well,
thank you for your question.
Thank you. That's a great question. That's why we really want everyone who comes here to share the resources, because sometimes it's just not knowing that they're there. But that's why we do this, about putting on these presentations, about putting it on our website, putting it on YouTube, so you can go subscribe to our YouTube channel. It's Southside First. And we've had other talks around finance, around access to capital, access to money.
Yeah. Thank you. All right. Thank you.